It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. I'm your host, Jake Shepp, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. As you've been driving alongside Walnut Lake Road, you've probably noticed some big construction changes with the brand new Chico Elementary School. The structural frame of the building was recently completed, and the West Bloomfield School District and several township officials got to take a look inside of the brand new building and get a sense of what's to come with the brand new Chico. I was able to get a behind-the-scenes look inside of the new school and to hear what local officials had to say about the new building.
Oh my goodness, I can't even put it into words almost. It's going to be so incredible. The students and staff just continue to be so supportive, the parents, and they are super excited to start in the new school year. The construction workers, Pat, the construction manager, everybody involved, Jamie Stottlemyre, central office. Every time we come, we can see all of the progress. They've been wonderful at giving tours and really bringing the staff along so they see the progress and can envision it and start planning as we speak.
You know, we're really excited about the progress at Chico Elementary. The construction is really going on as planned. We're excited that we're still on track to meet the opening date of June of 2026. And to see the space come to life has really been amazing. To now see it kind of in a 3D atmosphere, whereas before we were seeing it on drawings, is really exciting. Now we can visualize the space with kids in it and staff. And being able to come out here today and experience this with staff and for them to be able to see and stand in their classrooms where they're going to be in a year from now was just amazing.
I'm really excited about the learning spaces and the opportunities that students will have. First and foremost, the theme of Michigan, it really is a children's hands-on museum meets school, and it will make learning engaging and just really next level. So the kids will I can't wait to see the looks on their faces because they have never seen school like this.
It's incredible. If anybody looking for a home in West Bloomfield sees this school and are not attracted to coming to our school district, it would be shocking for me to understand. Having started back here in 1985 and watched 3 different additions onto the building as I was at Green Elementary and seeing what we're going to have now, it's just the technology, the infrastructure, the building, it's amazing. It really is amazing.
How great do you think this brand new Chico Elementary School is going to be for the school district and their mission going forward?
I think it's going to show that we're committed to dreaming big for our students and dreaming bigger for our community. And I'm really excited about the learning that's going to take place in this building and how the space is going to actually facilitate deeper level learning within it. Learning spaces matter, and I think this is going to be an unbelievable space where we connect the academics with the learning space, and we're really going to see great results from this.
We here at Civic Center TV have been seeing the construction every single day as the school is right outside our building, and we can see just how far things have come, and I can't wait for when this school officially opens its doors for the fall 2026 school year. It's going to be so great, and I can't wait for all these kids to enjoy this brand new school. A local neighborhood in West Bloomfield is going forward in the intricate process of becoming its very own village. We recently were able to get some words from Cass Lake Community Association board member Chris LeDuc to explain how this decision came to be. And delivering this special report is an old friend to the Civic Center TV team, Daniel Zivian.
I'm at the entrance of Zox Cass Lakeside. It's one of the older subdivisions in West Bloomfield, and it's already in its own little world.
We have our own municipal water system. We have roughly 4 miles of roads that we maintain, 3 miles of canals that we maintain. We have 15 vehicular bridges, and all this infrastructure is over 100 years old. When we started looking around for road funding or for water funding, they assume in the first place that if you're managing all this infrastructure that you must be a municipality, so everything is written with that assumption in mind. And because of it, we don't qualify for any funding.
But without those funds, Cass Lakeside is an infrastructure time bomb. Some homes are separated from the mainland by 4 to 6 bridges.
If we weren't in a position to be able to, say, borrow money as a community to fix the bridges, then that responsibility would be for those individual homeowners. So that means they would either have to split the cost of a $1 million bridge, or they wouldn't be able to get emergency services. Fire trucks, ambulances couldn't come to their house. According to the township attorney, we'd be looking at possibly seeing those houses get condemned.
LeDuc says the process began 3 years ago, only securing approval from the State Boundary Commission earlier this year. LeDuc says it could not have been done without the support of his neighbors.
In a lot of communities, neighbors don't even know each other, and we pack our community center in these meetings that we have about the village. So it feels really good that so many people are willing to get together and take chances and solve problems.
LeDuc says residents will elect a 5-member charter commission this November with 3 chances to approve a charter in August 2026. Taxes will go up, but as LeDuc says, quote, there are no free options. For Civic Center TV, I'm Daniel Zivian reporting.
Big thank you for Daniel for bringing us that great story. News is going to be coming very, very soon on this progress, so we can't wait to see what is to come. Each year, thousands of house fires across the United States are sparked by clogged dryer vents or neglected lint buildup, including a recent incident that happened with West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder, making dryer maintenance a crucial part of home safety. Here with some important information on keeping your dryer vents clean and safe is our recent conversation with Great Lakes Dryer Vent Services owner, Jason Carlock. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Now, this is obviously something that you see time and time again because of your job. What are some of the most common causes of dryer fires that you tend to see in your line of work?
Well, it really boils down to whether or not the dryer has space to breathe. So if that dryer venting gets clogged or crushed or anything such as that, and you impede that flow, then the heat can't escape from the dryer as it's supposed to. So the dryer ends up getting super, super hot, and which could cause the lint inside the venting to combust and start a fire.
That's right. It really shows the importance of checking those lint traps and to make sure that the lint is removed every single time, or at least every so often. And you can see some photos right now on Civic Center TV of a recent job you did actually helping out West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder with an incident at her home. How often should homeowners have their dryer vents professionally cleaned, and what factors might change that timeline, would you say?
Well, the industry standard as a whole is that you should get your dryer vent cleaned once a year. But I've found that not everybody has a long run. It may be a short run. So they may need it every other year just for maintenance purposes, or every 2 years. And that'll factor in once we go there and clean it out. We usually do a following year. We go there and clean it again. And that gives us an idea of how often they really should be getting it clean at that point.
That's right. And when people have incidents like this, who they're going to call? They're going to call you. So I'm curious if you can walk us through your process with Great Lakes Dryer Vent Services, what a typical vent cleaning usually entails.
Sure. What we do often is we go in, we check the back of the dryer, make sure the connection is connected properly, that the line isn't crushed, because folks will end up pushing their dryer back somehow, and that could pinch the, especially if it's flex back there. A lot of homeowners like the flex so they can pull their dryer out, they can clean back there, and then when they push it back, sometimes it gets crushed. So we make sure that that is clear and that there's nothing hindering that from the airflow from coming out. And then what we'll do is we'll go outside. We have specialized tools that run on air, 175 PSI. We go through with our line. It's a spinning reverse ball. So what that does is it kind of propels that line almost like a rocket to get through all the bends and the turns. And then we pull all the debris outside like you saw in those photos, and then we clean that up. We do an airflow test to make sure that it is now venting properly and that it's safe to use and, that sort of thing. So
sounds like a very intricate process. Sorry, words are tripping me up sometimes, but a very thorough process to make sure that everybody stays safe. Now, it should be noted that maybe people don't always realize just when something might be wrong with their dryer vent until it's too late. So what are some early warning signs that a dryer vent might be clogged or unsafe?
The first thing that'll happen is that your clothes they won't dry as quickly. You'll have to run an additional cycle in order to get the clothes to dry. You may end up with lots of moisture inside the dryer. Also, another indication is most of the new dryers today, they'll give an error code, and that error code will usually tell you that there is a point of blockage that you'll need to get cleaned out in order for it to run properly. But I'd say the biggest thing is probably most people catch the fact that it is taking much longer to get their clothes dry.
Okay, that is interesting, and that shows the wonders of technology, that nowadays you can get these alerts to really showcase that something might be wrong and that something may need to be addressed. And what would you say are maybe the biggest kinds of damage or risks that can truly occur if lint buildup is ignored for too long?
Well, I've had a lot of customers that say they're on their second or even third dryer because they feel like it's the dryer that's not performing properly. So they'll call a maintenance guy. He'll come out. He'll maintain the dryer and say, "Oh, it's running fine." So they're incurring that cost of them, and then they have to call us. We come in, and that's an additional cost for them. So I would say that. And then as far as damage is concerned, a lot of times when the dryers are not venting properly, there's a safety feature inside the dryer that will trip sort of a breaker, if you will, that you have to get reset by a professional because it's inside the dryer. So that'll stop drying with heat, and it'll just be cool air blowing, and then your clothes don't get dry at that point.
And that's all great things that you are there to help make sure that these families stay safe. Once again, for those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with the owner of Great Lakes Dryer Vent Services, Jason Carlock, going through things that people might want to be aware of when it comes to dryer vents or neglected lint buildup to make sure that they don't cause any sort of house fires or any sort of disasters at the home. Now, Jason, how does professional cleaning improve not just safety, but the performance and energy efficiency of a dryer?
Right. So if your dryer is performing the way it should, then you should only have to run it on one cycle. But if you're running it on multiple cycles just to get the clothes dry, you are going to be paying extra costs in electricity or gas because you're using that more than it needs to be used. So if you're doing, let's say, 4 loads and you've got to run it, your dryer 16, 17 times just to get those loads dry, there is a cost factor to that too. It's going to cost a little more.
Yeah, 16, 17 spins, that's way too much, and that definitely does show that something might be amiss in the household. Now, Jason, what tips would you give homeowners for routine dryer care between professional cleanings to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, well, lint is always going to get past the lint trap, but you want to make sure that in between every load, you're cleaning that lint trap very well, getting all the lint out of it. And a lot of the dryer sheets, what they do is they melt the product onto the clothes, which in turn makes them soft. So a lot of times that will bake into the venting itself. So I would just say make sure that you're that your screen is not getting blocked up. And if for some reason the screen is getting blocked up, then what you're going to want to do is you want to soak it in hot water with a little bit of Dawn dish soap, and then make sure it's dry before you put it back in. And that should definitely help with that. And then just make sure you keep that clean all the time, that you're not running it multiple loads with the lint without emptying the lint tray. So
all right, definitely learning a lot of information and definitely a lot of tips that people can take home with them to tackle their own dryer and to make sure that this doesn't happen at their home. But I am curious, what's the biggest misconception that people tend to have about dryer vent cleaning or dryer fire risks?
Well, I don't think it's really a misconception more than it is just out of sight, out of mind. Most dryers exit out the back of the home, the side of the home. A lot of homeowners aren't back there looking. There's multiple different venting things that you have for your furnace, for bath fans, different things like that. So you're so used to seeing them, and there's so much other sort of maintenance that you have to do on your home that people are aware of that sometimes gets forgotten. So it is important that you should, when you're doing your spring cleaning, any of that sort of thing, make sure you're going out back, looking inside, seeing if there's a lot of lint built up around the cover of the where it expels outside. You want to make sure that you give us a call or a professional a call so that they can clean it out and make sure that it's safe and it's good to use.
That is what you are here to do and here to provide for the people of Greater West Bloomfield. Jason, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people go to gain a little more information to help prevent something like this from happening at their home?
Well, you can go to our website, which is greatlakesdryerventservices.com. We have links on there that you can look at. And also, you can fill out a form on there, and we'll give you a call back to get something scheduled, or even if you have any concerns, or you could just call us at 248-366-4788. That's 248-366-4788, and we pretty much answer the phone 24/7, so we can get all your questions answered at that point.
All great information to keep the residents of Greater West Bloomfield safe. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Really appreciate getting to speak with Jason about the importance of checking your dryer vents to make sure incidents like this don't happen with your own home. So make sure that is some very important information for all the residents to keep in mind when it comes to checking their laundry rooms and checking their dryer vents to make sure this doesn't happen. A local West Bloomfield resident has taken his love of barbecue to exciting new levels all across social media. Walter Johnston is the founder of Michigan Barbecue Addicts, a passion-driven channel dedicated to showcasing the art, creativity, and community behind great barbecue. Racking up almost 600,000 followers on TikTok with his innovative recipes and his popular Roll for Barbecue series, which blends tabletop gaming with culinary experimentation. I had the pleasure of speaking with Walter on The Splash recently to hear all about his success and where his love of good barbecue comes from. Walter, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to see you at the barbecue.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for this because I am a fan of your channel. I've been watching it for quite a while, and it is incredible to see what you've been able to accomplish at the barbecue. So I got to start from the beginning. How did your passion for barbecue first take shape?
Well, honestly, it all started when I was a kid. I watched my dad grill when I was a kid, and it was love my dad to death, but you know he did his best. Let's just say it that way. But he cooked for all of us. If one of us wanted burgers, one of us wanted brats, stuff like that, he would do his best with it. Then, long story short, a nasty divorce happened and the barbecue stopped. And then I was a firefighter prior to this. Been retired for about almost 11 years now. And one of my old firefighting buddies said, hey, let's go get something to eat. And so we tried some brisket, and I'm like, this is really good. I'm like, okay, let's see what we can work with this. The minute I tried that, I wanted to get my own smoker. I found the cheapest one I could find on Amazon, and I started doing stuff. A lot of successes, tons of failures, but we're perfecting the art every single day.
That's right.
Now my dad watches me barbecue, and it's pretty funny now.
I'd imagine so, but hey, practice makes perfect. And as I was saying, you've taken this love of barbecue to a great new level. What inspired you to start Michigan Barbecue Addicts?
So honestly, we were making a good recipe online. I was taking photos of it. I found some of those Facebook groups like Meat Church Congregation, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I'm really proud of this. And I wanted to post my picture and see what people thought, because everybody wants to get that validation online. And let's just say this, no barbecue jokes intended, but I got roasted really, really bad. People were telling me like really, really mean things, super judgmental, not even in like engaging. And I got really upset. I took that personally. And then my wife, she looked at me and she's like, look, take this down. Let's think about this, and she really changed my perspective. And we turned this into, how can we make a cooking channel that is formed on judgment-free cooking? And that's how the Michigan Barbecue Addicts was developed. We are founded on judgment-free cooking for anybody that wants to learn. I'm not a pro by any means. I'm just a fat guy that knows how to cook in the backyard. That's the biggest thing. And that's how we got started. People love the judgment-free factor, and we've been doing pretty good ever since.
I mean, you seem to be very, very skilled. I mean, we're showing some of your videos on the screen right now. If you're watching on Civic Center TV, you certainly know what you're doing. And it's great that you're showcasing all of these skills to so many other people. Now, I want to talk about your Roll for Barbecue series. It's such a creative concept. Talk about what it is and how did that idea to mix dice rolls and cooking challenges, how did that come about?
So I'll start off by saying this. I'm a nerd, right? I have no shame in my game. I will say that all the live long day. And honestly, I was scrolling on TikTok one day and I found Roll for Sandwich, Adventures in Artie. And I was like, that's an interesting concept. Roll the dice and you can make a sandwich just based on pure chance. Then I scrolled again. I see somebody does Roll for Pizza. And then I saw Roll for Sushi. And I'm like, we could probably do this with barbecue. So I bought myself a cheap dice tower on Amazon, 2 sets of dice, and I decided, I was like, let's see if we can put a barbecue spin on it. We did. The first episode, I got, again, roasted again. People were like, that's a ripoff, you're doing this all wrong. And then we did it on our own the second time, and everybody absolutely loved it. Ironically, it was right around the time I lost my job at the time, and of course, I'm depressed. I was like, what am I going to do? So we ended up like pushing all of our attention on that, and that's how we grew big on TikTok. Like we did a couple sponsored channels, stuff like that, and it just blew up from there.
That's right. And as you're saying, all of these other great channels have served as inspiration. I should mention Roll for Sandwich, also a Michigan native. So all the good ideas are coming from this state. I just want to point that out. But obviously, when it comes to using these dice, obviously, I'm assuming some of the results are probably better than others. What would you say have been some of your favorite or maybe your most unexpected results so far from the dice rolls? Like one of your best, one of your worst?
So I can tell you my most recent, honestly. So
Sure.
One of the most recent ones that I can tell you was one of the best ones I had recently. Previously, it was a burn-end baked potato. It was a burn-end twice baked potato with like a blueberry barbecue sauce. Really great. But recently, we discovered pumpkin spice turkey breast, which I'm basic. Trust me, I'm very basic when it comes to, fall and stuff like that. So it worked out really good. I mean, it was the flavor dynamics behind the pumpkin spice and the turkey just really, it was so comforting. It was just hit you right in the heart. It was so good. Now, some of the bad stuff, I will say, is the stuff that I've had to drink. Like
no.
we did. So Roll for Barbecue around Halloween, my wife and I, it's no surprise here, but we are big spooky people around Halloween. And we have a character on our channel called Mayhem, and he adds either a really great flair to your meal or something that's super cursed and is going to possibly ruin it, right? So one of the ones that we had last year, I was making chicken wings, and he had us blend our chicken wings into apple cider with Worcestershire sauce, and we had to drink it. And commitment to the bit, yes, I drank the whole thing. Did it stay in my system? No, it did not.
I give you props for that, for committing to the bit. I mean, I don't think I would ever want to drink my chicken wings, but so my hat is off to you, sir. And I also want to point out, it is nice that even when maybe the dice rolls don't always go the way that you want it to go, you always offer a little bit of help at the end to say, how can you fix it?
You did it right. We want to be able to fix our meals here because, I mean, honestly, the stuff that I'm making, it's either going to be really good, really bad, or just in between. We want to take it to that next level. So if you want to recreate this at home, you can. I mean, if you're crazy enough to recreate some of the stuff we do at home, go for it. So we want to make it better for you so you can give yourself a different idea of how you want to cook.
There's definitely ones I've got in mind to maybe try myself. Just need to up my cooking skills just a little bit. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with the founder of Michigan Barbecue Addicts, West Bloomfield resident Walter Johnston, who has amassed an incredible following on TikTok with almost 600,000 followers, all learning his barbecue magic. Now, I do want to highlight something because you always highlight Michigan barbecue. How does Michigan's local barbecue scene influence your cooking style and the type of content that you create?
Honestly, I mean, I get this question a lot. We get people say, well, Texas barbecue, it's all about salt and pepper, and Kansas City has this, and Memphis has this. Michigan barbecue, to me, is, look, we have cookouts. We like going and closing down an entire block, and everybody gets together, and we just have a good old-fashioned cookout. That's Michigan barbecue right there. Now, how we've incorporated the Michigan twist onto everything, we got our classics. We got Faygo. We have our Vernors. We have our Conies, you know. We have different things that really make Michigan pop, you know, Kogels. You know, all of those big brands, how can we incorporate those into our barbecue really adds that Michigan flair. Plus, you know, we like to keep things humble here. We want to make sure that everybody's welcome at our barbecue. As long as there's no hate, no, nothing like that. Everybody's welcome here.
What are your plans in the future, possibly expanding beyond social media?
So ultimately, my biggest goal, I mean, I would love to have first I got to get myself a truck and a pole behind smoker. And I want to be able to, you know, drive anywhere I can and make barbecue, you know, do catered events, stuff like that. That's the idea. We want to be able to spread the Michigan barbecue love across the board. You know, for people who haven't heard of us or haven't been on TikTok, you're not on TikTok, that's fine. We like to try to grow ourselves on social media. So by the time we get to the point where we can, you know, have the funding to do a food truck or something like that, people already know who we are. People already know what our game is and then how we're going to operate.
Well, I can't wait to see it, and I assure you, I will be first in line. I've seen all of your cooking. I want to try it for myself. Now, Walter, a couple more questions before we wrap things up. Where can people go to find you on social media, on TikTok, on all the other places to catch your content in person?
Absolutely. So we operate on a multitude of different social media platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Those are our main four. But, I mean, we're starting to grow everywhere else. You know, we're trying to get onto, you know, Lemonade, Blue Sky, stuff like that. But if you want to find us mainly, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you want to catch us, if you don't remember that, no problem. Go to MichiganBBQAddicts.com. That takes us right to our store where you can get some amazing merch like Never Trust a Skinny Chef, any of our hats, stuff like that. But there's also a link in there. You can check us out, and that'll take us right to all of our social media links.
Michigan BBQ Addicts, that's where you can find all the magic. All right, Walter, last question before we wrap things up, and I think this might be the most important question of all. It's a little tricky. Out of all of the pieces of barbecue you could possibly make, pork, chicken, ribs, brisket, what's your favorite?
Hands down, it's got to be Snake River Farms Black Grade Wagyu brisket.
Wow.
We got one sent to us a couple years ago. And I'm still drooling over it right now. Like you mentioned Snake River Farms Black Grade Wagyu brisket, and I need to do some housekeeping here. But it was the most tender, juicy, beefy, delicious. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. It just melted in your mouth. You were like, where'd the food go? It's so good.
I might need to try that for myself. Once again, Michigan barbecue addicts all across social media to catch barbecue tips and roll for barbecue. Can't wait to see what's to come. Walter, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate y'all. And of course, we'll see you guys at the next barbecue.
Guarantee watching those TikToks will make you hungry. Michigan Barbecue Addicts is the place to go to learn all of the barbecue magic and all the recipes that you could possibly try and make yourself at home. Just maybe don't blend the chicken wings. I wouldn't recommend that one. At the Berman Center in West Bloomfield, Fiddler on the Roof got off to a great start last weekend, bringing the theater classic and the magic to West Bloomfield. But in case you missed it last weekend, have no fear. You will have another opportunity to check out the show this weekend from October 24th through the 26th. After that, it is gone. Sarah Grice is one of the actors in this program, playing the role of Seidel. She joined us on The Splash recently to share how this role inspires her and how it feels to be part of a theater classic like Fiddler.
Sarah, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you on. It's a big show coming to the Berman Center here in West Bloomfield on Drake and on Maple in West Bloomfield. Going to be a big show all throughout this week and next as you put on Fiddler on the Roof. Seidel is your character in this particular play, but Fiddler on the Roof still is such a big draw for people, even in 2025. What about this show do you think still resonates with audiences all these years later, even today?
I think it's so much about family and it's about traditions. And it just kind of draws us back to those things that mean the most to us. It's something that's very important and special to me. Fiddler on the Roof was something that we watched as a family when I was a kid. So it kind of just brings back that nostalgia for everyone. And, you know, it's got a great meaning to it. It's got a lot of heart. It's got comedy. It's got excitement. So I think it's just one of those things that people just always have loved.
And one thing about this show that makes it so relatable to audiences is it has that mixture of heartbreak and humor. It lightens the mood enough to keep you engaged, not just upset an audience while telling a relatively heartbreaking story. And so how do those emotional shifts night to night impact both the actors on the stage, but also the audiences and help to build that connection?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's an emotional roller coaster that we go on every single night because the whole purpose of the show is this shift and change. It's so close to reality because these are things that actually happened. So a lot of the themes that occur, especially with some of the things that are even happening today, are really just kind of hit you in the feels. So it's something that we as a cast have really worked through. We really have to trust each other. We've had to make those connections to get those joyous times and make them, you know, as natural as possible, especially when we're going between that and the heartbreak and, you know, just having to be comfortable with individuals while we're being comforted through really difficult situations. There's a lot of family dynamic in it that we've really created amongst the cast that just makes this production really special.
And you mentioned it too, Sarah, your appreciation for this show, having seen it before, experienced it before, and now you get a chance to be part of the storytelling yourself. And as you mentioned, it's kind of a balance between joy and a little bit of sorrow too, because of the truth behind this story. So as a performer and as a part of this ensemble cast, how do you all balance that out as you're trying to build that chemistry so it shows in the show on the stage, while also preparing to tell this story in your own way also?
Yeah, I personally connect with this show on so many levels. Seidel is the oldest of three girls. I am the oldest of three girls. And she is the daughter of Tevye, and he is the very strong man. He's very strong in his morals and his traditions, in his faith. And that's something that I grew up with in my own family and my own dad. So as far as the emotions go, they come very naturally for me because I kind of just settle into Zeidel is so close to who I am in some ways. But what has really helped in this is a lot of the cast, especially, as a person who has three sisters, the two young ladies that play two of my sisters, there's five of us. We've actually really tried to get together and bond and talk, and we've just shared a lot about ourselves and our lives. So just having that comfortability amongst the cast has really helped draw those emotions out. And it's not even it just comes naturally now. The smiles and the fun and even the tears they're just a natural occurrence amongst all of us.
Just 6 chances to see Fiddler on the Roof at the Berman Center for the Performing Arts in West Bloomfield Township. It all begins on October 17th. Shows running the 17th through the 19th and the 24th through the 26th. You can get your tickets online, nicelytheatergroup.com. Nicely Theater with an R-E, group.org. For your tickets. One more time, nicelytheatergroup.org is the place to go to get your tickets for the 6 and only 6 shows. Sarah Grice is with us from the cast of Fiddler on the Roof at the Berman Center for the Performing Arts. And you mentioned some of your personal connections to this character, the dynamics of your life that you've been able to incorporate into your preparation to play Seidel on the stage during these 6 performances. But what about her personality were you most excited to explore as you prepared for this show and now as you're performing it here in West Bloomfield?
Yeah, as far as Zeidel goes, she differs. She's very similar to me in some ways, but she's also very different. And what I love about Zeidel is she's a little bit headstrong, but she's also still got that older sister dynamic. She's still got that connection with her parents where she doesn't want to disappoint them, but she's also strong enough to stand up for what she wants. And that's something that I've really had fun with as the oldest daughter in my own world. It's something that, I've been plagued with I don't want to disappoint mom and dad. So Zeidel she's kind of an inspiration because she kind of starts the ball rolling for this change and this, new way of the one line is that the world is changing. And so she's kind of that person that kind of starts that change and that ball rolling to get her parents to kind of have a different idea about certain things. So that's been really fun to work with. It's also been really kind of fun to immerse myself in the culture, not someone of Jewish faith or Jewish background, but just being surrounded with people in my life who are of the Jewish faith. It's been really interesting and fun getting to know that. So I've taken a lot of information from fellow castmates, from my directors, to kind of bring that to her personality as well, because the times were very, very different in terms of how women were perceived and what the women's role was back then. So that's been something really different that I've been able to take on as well.
And part of the purpose of this art form, much like film, theater is such an intimate way of entertaining people through performing art. There's always a multitude of messages that an audience can take away from any one of these shows, especially a classic like Fiddler on the Roof. Its original message still resonating today, but given what has been going on in the world, both on foreign and domestic soils, and sort of the state of the world that we're in, what are some of your hopes for what the audience can take away from this performance during these 6 shows and then maybe incorporate into their world here in 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a really difficult time with some of the things that are happening. And I hope that audiences come in, and maybe some individuals have never witnessed or seen Fiddler on the Roof. I hope that it moves them. I hope they can connect with, how things that were happening then are still happening today, and it kind of resonates with them. But I really, really hope as well that audiences focus in on the joy as well, and just remembering that even through hard times, these individuals clung to each other. They clung to their families. They held tight to their faith, and kept the things that were really important in their heart centralized, even through their struggles. That's the one thing that they still maintained throughout the show, is they really, really held tight to who they were and where they came from, and really that tradition of, you know, how they were raised and what they believed in.
And on a personal level for you, what are some of your takeaways from having now been able to perform in this show after being a fan of it for so long?
It's been absolutely incredible. I've had conversations with our wonderful director, Mitch Master, about this, because Fiddler is not something that gets done locally often, because it's often on Broadway or it's often out on tour. So it's such a pleasure to finally get to have the opportunity to not just audition, but actually get cast in this show. And when I auditioned, I was like, I will do anything just to be in the show because of what it means to me. So it's just been one of the best experiences. I'm performing with some of my dearest friends. I've made amazing connections with new friends and castmates, and that's the thing that I love so much about theater. We really are a community. We really are a family, which, you know, obviously plays out on the stage when you see how we all interact with each other. And that's something that I'm going to take away. Not only the experience of finally being able to perform in my ultimate favorite musical, but also getting to perform with the individuals who are in my cast and work with our fabulous crew and orchestra as well.
Sarah Grice is with us, one of the cast members of Fiddler on the Roof, performing here in West Bloomfield at the Berman Center for the Performing Arts. 6 shows on the way. You can purchase your tickets for those limited performances right now online. nicelytheatergroup.org is the website to get your tickets. They begin on October 17th. They conclude on October 26th. Sarah, you mentioned this is a show that typically is on Broadway or is in big theaters off Broadway, maybe even locally, like the Fisher Theater in downtown Detroit. It's a completely different paradigm shift when you are playing in a local theater like the Berman Center for the Performing Arts. It's an interesting environment. It's great for a stage play. Why is the Berman Center a good place for people? If they want to see Fiddler on the Roof, why should they go and see it at the Berman?
Oh, yes, please come to the Berman. If you haven't been to the Berman, it is an absolutely gorgeous facility. This is my 3rd show working with Nicely and performing at the Berman. It is one of my favorite places to perform. You know, it's state of the art. So you just feel like you are in a professional theater when you walk in. The professional staff is amazing. One of the things that I love about being at the Berman is, while it is a larger house, there is not a bad seat in the house. Everywhere you sit, you're going to get an amazing view. You're going to be able to see the actors. You're going to be able to witness, you know, facial expressions and emotions and everything. And it's actually a very, very comfortable theater, which I know, you know, especially when I go to shows with my dad, that's one of the biggest things he wants to know is, are the seats comfortable? And yes, they are. You know, we just love being at the Berman, and, you know, just from when you walk in the doors with the high ceilings and everything, you really feel like you're stepping into a place that's really special.
And it'll be a special few nights here in West Bloomfield for Fiddler on the Roof. Coming up, shows October 17th through 19th and the 24th through the 26th. Sarah, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you so much again for having me. I hope we see you all out at the show.
Appreciate Sarah for taking the time to talk with us on the Splash Live. Once again, shows are still available from October 24th through the 26th, but after that, the show will be over. So only a few more chances to check out Fiddler on the Roof at the Berman Center in West Bloomfield. We're going to take a quick break and jump into some more stories on the program right after this. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
I'm Gina Gregory, president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I'm excited that Civic Center TV has reached 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations. That's just terrific. We appreciate everything Civic Center does for the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the community. For us, they promote and highlight our events. It's awesome to have them available 24/7 on YouTube. I'm Gina Gregory and proud to be 1 in a million.
When When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jake Schaff. The Heroes Appreciation Breakfast takes place on November 4th from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., hosted by West Bloomfield Parks in collaboration with West Bloomfield Township, the West Bloomfield School District, and the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. And the event is held at West Bloomfield Middle School, and the occasion honors the dedication and sacrifices of both veterans and their families, giving thanks to the heroes of our past and the present. Bernadette Hudgens, the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Senior Services Manager, recently spoke with me on The Splash Live to tell us more. Bernadette, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. So glad to be here to join you.
Absolutely glad to have you with us as well. Really looking forward to the Heroes Breakfast coming up soon. It's one of the biggest events with West Bloomfield Parks that takes place every single year. How long has this event been going on, and what does it mean to West Bloomfield Parks?
I'd say a little over 10 years. This program has been a program that is one of those things that is a staple in the community. It is an event that we have a lot of great support because people want to honor our veterans. I mean, honestly, we think about the freedoms that we have here in our great country. It is because of the sacrifices and dedication of our veterans. So we are happy to take this opportunity as a token to show them our appreciation.
That's absolutely right. And of course, it's not just West Bloomfield Parks who helps to put this together. As we mentioned,
Yes.
There's a ton of partnerships that help make this event possible. It's almost like the Avengers, everyone teaming up. You got the West Bloomfield Township, the school district, the public library, everybody. How does that enhance the event's mission?
Well, I think that it really helps to show the community that this is something that is not just honored and appreciated by the WB Parks, but by the community partners who are serving them on a day-to-day basis. So I think, and I love the fact that not only this event could not happen without the wonderful sponsors that we have, Seniors Benefit Plus, for example. They support us year after year. And so these are this program, I should say, is so important and so valued, and it just creates that space to say, hey, we thank you. And we're excited this year because we had the hometown singers, but then we also have some local musicians, and that will be the middle school. They will be performing our veterans out at the end of the session. So we're really excited about this year's event. And we also have some donations from Mission Barbecue. So we're really excited about this event and looking forward to being able to gather our seniors, all of our veterans to acknowledge this important season as we go into Veterans Day.
That's right, and it's going to be a very moving ceremony for all of the veterans that are there. And every Heroes Breakfast, I'm sure no two Heroes Breakfasts have been exactly the same. What new features or enhancements are being introduced this year compared to past years?
Well, one of the things that every year, our goal is always to make it more seamless, make it more efficient. And so, in the past, we've had photographers, we're actually doing our own photo booth, and we have it set up so that folks can take their photos, go into their event, walk out, have their names on their badge, on their pictures. They can walk out. We also, like I said, we had a donation from Mission Barbecue, and they're donating a Tiffany casserole. So that would be a new addition. And we have all of our wonderful volunteers who play a key role in making this event happen, so that we can serve almost 200 folks that come out. And we also have a process that is easier for them to check in, and we have a special guest from Selfish Air Base. So we're really excited about this event. But I will tell you, this is a well-oiled machine because we've been doing it. The processes and how we do it is great. And so we do have our fire chief, I'm sorry, our fire chaplain, Tim Hoserland, who will be doing our invocation. We have a wonderful MC, Al Muskovitz. So if you watch the news or know anything about sports, or even have been around for a while, Big Al is going to be our MC. And then we have our one of our fire chiefs will also be our MC. So I'm sorry, will be one of our folks who will be doing some speaking as well. So I think we have some really great things going, and we're excited about the event this year.
You absolutely should be excited. It sounds like you've got a great lineup of speakers and entertainers for the program. How do you select who speaks and entertains for the program, and what qualities do you tend to look for in those people?
I think one of the qualities first, we want them to understand the veteran experience. So if they are not a veteran, that they've interacted and engaged, because again, this is to honor our veterans. So we want to make sure that we are having presenters who can speak to their challenges, who can speak to how important that they are. So that's really important for us. And then also making sure that we are trying to find local veterans or people who are currently serving, so that we can make sure that we are taking into consideration some of the challenges that people may experience just living in and also the wins that people may have living in our community or near our community.
For those just joining us on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Bernadette Hudgens, the Senior Services Manager for West Bloomfield Parks, who's giving us some insight on this year's Heroes Appreciation Breakfast that is going to be taking place on November 4th. Now, as we've said, this event is open to everybody, not just veterans, but non-veterans as well. How do you balance honoring veterans while also including non-veterans, and what's the significance of making it open to all?
Well, I think it's important as we think about honoring our veterans that, again, that they know that it's not just our community partners, right? So anyone who is not a veteran and they're not coming as a gift, the fee is nominal, $15 for a breakfast, and most of us spend more than that going to brunch. So $15 is a nominal fee, but all of our veterans, and again, you don't have to be a West Bloomfield veteran to come. So you go on to our WBparks.org website, you can go and look for the registration, and you can register, and every veteran is able to bring one free guest. So again, it's a great event. The tickets go fast, so we encourage people, go ahead and get that registration going so that we can make sure that we're ready and prepared for you. And it's going to be an exciting event.
Sounds like it, and I hope that there are a lot of veterans that end up making their way over to West Bloomfield Middle School to celebrate this event. And as this has been going on for a few years, I'm curious, what has the response been from the veterans who attend, especially the ones that have come back every year? And are there particular moments that really resonate the most with them?
I would say yes. So first of all, this is a very important event, and our seniors, the feedback has been very positive. They enjoy it, they respect it, and they look for it. And so, we are always thinking about how to make things better and greater. And we receive feedback. Last year, we happened to have it on a Saturday, and we received feedback that there was a preference because of our Jewish veterans would like it to be on a weekday. So we were able to work with the school, and because the day of voting is a day that we know automatically that the children are not there or will be leaving, we can make sure that the space is open. So, and it was a question of, wow, you're having this event on the day of voting. And I would say, as we think about one of the wonderful things that our veterans fought for, and that's for our democracy. So having it on the day of voting, I think, is a way to also commemorate one of the key things that they fought for in regards to our freedom. So it's going to be a great event. And the wonderful thing about it is that it's just for a few hours. So again, it's not the whole day. You come in, enjoy some music, along with great speakers and a tasty breakfast. I say that our school children are eating really well because the cooks and the culinary staff there at the West Bloomfield Middle School, their breakfasts are bar none the best. I know that I've enjoyed.
That's great to hear. And that's very interesting to hear the thought process in terms of choosing the day. And it makes a lot of sense. It's a day that everybody is thinking about our country. And of course, that means it's a day we're thinking about our veterans. So it all makes sense. I think that that is a great decision. I got a couple more questions before we wrap things up, Bernadette. What would you say this event means to the families of veterans and their service members? And how would you say this impacts them specifically?
I love that question because I think it speaks to how honored and appreciative that they have that we have an event like this, that they can say, not only do I care about my veteran, but there is a level of respect and honor. And also we appreciate the family members, because if you are a family member of a veteran, there is sacrifice. There's sacrifice that you would have made that otherwise other people may not have experienced. So you've given up a lot as a family member of a veteran, whether you are a child or even a grandchild, because there are stories and also experiences that they may have that impact them today.
That's absolutely right. It's important that these stories are preserved, and it's great that this is going to be an amazing event to help tell those stories and to celebrate these veterans for everything that they've done. Last question, Bernadette. Looking ahead, how would you like the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast to evolve or expand in the future?
I think we're constantly thinking about how to make the program better. And so I think last year we had a video that was done. So I'm really hoping in the future that we can do some things more with the students to be able to engage veterans who may not only show up, but also just to make sure that we take into account people's stories, people's experiences. And it's always wonderful to hear a speaker, but it's something that is to be said about a person and real, a person who may just be a regular guest and may not have been a corporal or a sergeant, but as a private who have had experiences. So I think thinking about how we can continue to engage our participants in the program, I think that's one of the things that I'd like to add as I think about what this program, broadening and having it grow in the future.
Well, we can't wait to see what's to come with this year's event and for everybody to be celebrating all of this fun on November 4th. Bernadette, thank you so much for joining us today here on The Splash Live.
My pleasure, and anytime.
Once again, the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast is going to be taking place on November 4th from 9 a.m. to 10:30. And if you're not going to be there to witness the breakfast in person, have no fear. Civic Center TV will be broadcasting the event live on all of our channels. Just scan the QR code on your screens on Civic Center TV to be taken directly to our website and to stay up to date with all the updates with the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast and all of our previous stories. But that's going to do it for us today here on the Splash Live. Big thank you to everybody on the Splash Live team for helping to make this show possible every single day. I've been your host, Jake Schaff. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV.